Hello. Today we are going to talk about mental health. And one of the reasons that many people are having a really difficult time these days with their mental health, most especially our young folks. This has to do with expectations. For a few generations now, parents have had ungodly ideas of what they wanted their kids to accomplish in order to get into Ivy League schools, among other things. Yet, since COVID, there's been other issues that have been problematic for our kids, creating a lot of depression and a lot of anxiety. And we need to be realistic in terms of what our kids need from us, in terms of loving kindness, being willing to listen to them, hear what their concerns are, address those concerns in language that they can understand, and let them know that even though things might seem a certain way, it doesn't mean that's the way it needs to be. Most especially if we help them to understand that it's really our attitude toward life and shifting what we think of as problems, as challenges to be overcome, or even better, puzzles to be figured out, so that we can learn, grow, and gain some wisdom in life. Because honestly, there's not a person in this world who hasn't made major mistakes in one area of life or another. And it's only when we learn from those mistakes that we gain wisdom. We, as older people, need to share our wisdom with the young folks so they understand that even though things seem impossible in their little minds, that, well, we all go through our challenges. And most of us make it out absolutely fine. And we realize as we get older and we have more and more responsibility, those challenges become, well, a bit more difficult to overcome. But yet, with the right attitude and being willing to ask for help from the people who can help us, pretty much anything can be overcome. I heard a miracle story from a person I was networking with the other day, and she said that she came up with her own ways of healing herself. And this is a really big deal. She actually healed herself of stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Pancreatic cancer is one of those cancers that is known to be a very high killer in a very quick time period once it's found. And yet she overcame stage 4. So this tells us what our mind is able to do if we focus on where we're going, what we want to accomplish, and allow, shall we say, the universal knowledge, energy, God, creator, whatever you want to call it, help us figure out the how. Because I can tell you, during my lifetime, I've had many miracles arise in my life merely by focusing on where I wanted to go. One of those things I wanted to do was I wanted to bring hypnotism to the developing world, and I got to do it not once, but twice. And not in just 2 venues, but in 5 venues during the 2 trips that I made, one to Kenya and one to Uganda. Another thing I wanted to do was I wanted to live by the seaside. I never knew I'd end up in Albania, Gollum, Albania. I don't pronounce the city right, but that's the way it looks when you read it on a map, so it will have to do for now. Gollum, Albania is a tourist resort area. There's a ton of resorts, and I live, I don't know, a 1 minute or less walk from the seaside, where I can see all the tourists hanging out, all getting very sunburnt because a lot of them come from Northern Europe, and they don't understand how strong the sun is here in Albania. It's on the Ionian Sea. It's close to the Mediterranean. Very different sunshine here in terms of its strength than what you'd have up in the northern regions of the globe. And I've also been able to manifest the money I needed to do my 2nd year prerequisites for my doctoral program by being reimbursed by the US government for a master's program that the university was sued by the University of California to reimburse everybody who paid for any of these classes, because apparently the university oversold what people could earn learning the information, and also overpaid or made the students overpay for what they were giving them, according to the state of California, and the judge agreed. And that's how I got my money for my second year prerequisites for my doctorate in psychology, because there's no way to get scholarships for that. I had no idea what I was going to do, but I'm just like, I have to do this. It's my life's legacy. I got to do this. And it came through for me. So I'd like you to take these ideas, and I'd like you to share them with your young ones and let them know that most things in life are temporary and are always in transition. And we don't always know how we got to where we got to years later, but looking back on our lives, we can see the trajectory of how we landed where we did. And that the most important thing for your child is to know that you unconditionally love and accept them, and do that by unconditionally loving and accepting them, which doesn't mean letting them run your household with crazy ideas and being insane, but rather having guidelines in terms of what is expected in the household and holding that true, because your children are your children and your job is to raise them. That means you're responsible until they're 18 or out of the house. Actually, you may still be responsible for them at the age of 18, because depending on the state, the age of majority is between 18 and 21 years of age. So it kind of depends on what state you live in the United States. I don't know about the rest of the world, frankly. In Eastern Europe, kids stay with their parents for a long time. It's a different culture. It's a very lovely culture, and that's why I like living here. It's very family-oriented. In any case, I thank you for spending your time with me till next time, and I trust that you learned something important. Bye-bye, all.